All right, should we play Jamie's game? I want a farmer to give me 3 words for these tags. Should we ask Grant at the back? He's good with words.
Not good in the freezer.
Right? Oh. All right, if we got any marketers left, I can see Tony. Who else is? Tony, from a marketer's perspective, how would you describe these things?
Messy, frustrating, but yeah.
And what about our venison marketer, the other Tony? Are you excited by these? No? Okay. So nobody's wildly excited about these things for a variety of reasons. Farmers are telling me they're not so flash on farm, fall apart in the freezer, and the marketer's eyes aren't lighting up with excitement either. Oh, how did I get this gig, by the way? It's not really science, it's not really policy. Well, Dan needed someone to do it, and he'd read the CEO manual, CEO 101. How do I get people to do stuff? So he came to me and said, you've got to do a corporate project, but you've got a choice. He said, you can do IT, health and safety, or velvet traceability. So but it's not a hospital pass at all. It's actually a really cool and exciting area to be looking at. So look, I love this picture. So this is some Velvet and Co product pallets being loaded up for air freight at Auckland. What I like about the picture, it has that sense of dynamism. We're going somewhere fast. And that's the sort of world we're operating in at the moment. The people we're selling our products to can place orders really quickly. The stuff they're interested in, what they're selling can change really quickly. But by the same token, if something goes wrong, it can all fall apart very quickly. So what we can do to overcome those limitations of the tags that you were expressing to me just now is to think about, look, can we overcome the immediate problem, but can we also add value by de-risking our industry a bit better? Are the things we can do to protect ourselves a bit better from any problems that might arise? And as a velvet industry, we've been really lucky that there haven't been any either food safety, contamination or biosecurity incidents that have proved a problem in the market. But we know from other sectors that we can't put our feet up and assume that everything's going to be sweet forevermore. We just don't know, and the likelihood is that something one day may happen, and we want to put ourselves in the best position using the tools we've got to be able to de-risk ourselves and ideally limit any product that's at stake, that's at risk from being held up at the wharf. We want to keep product moving. If there's ever a problem, wouldn't it be great if we could just easily, quickly, instantly delimit the scope of what's at risk and everything else stays flowing? So by looking at velvet traceability, I've got 2 jobs: improve the physicality of the current tag, and then see what value we can get from making changes to that tag format. Can we de-risk ourselves, but can we also make it stand up and do more jobs for us in the market? So if we have a little think about what our current velvet traceability system is and what it does, we do have stick level traceability. If I go back to this picture, there's a unique number on every tag. That means every individual stick of velvet that bears a tag has got a unique identifier. And we do have farm level traceability. If we follow through all the distribution chain, all the records that are kept from the DIN's office where the tags are boxed up and sent out to the vets, the record keeping that the vets do when they send out tags or hand over tags at the vet clinic, at the practice or on farm to the farmers. And then there's record keeping from the farmers going forward. There is a farm level traceability system. We can trace the velvet back to the farm, and that's a good thing. And we can also, this tag at the moment, that signifies to anybody in the market that that stick of velvet has been produced in compliance with all the animal welfare rules. And that's a non-negotiable for us, that our velvet meets the animal welfare standards. But that's as far as it goes at the moment. That's all the tag signifies to the people in the market, that this velvet meets the animal welfare standards. So what could we do better? Well, it seems to be a little bit misaligned, but the tracing I described that we can do, it's not instant. It requires a bit of legwork. It depends on Brenda at the vet clinic being on the job that day when we ring her up to say, who did you distribute those tags to? So it does work most of the time, but it takes a bit of effort. It's also not that easy to transcribe heaps of numbers from a tag to a piece of paper and from one piece of paper to another piece of paper. It takes a bit of time. And as I said, the tag at the moment only signifies the animal welfare compliance. You've heard from John, and most of you, because you're doing it, you're doing all these extra things to comply with the RCS, which are all relevant to food safety, food hygiene. You're doing all that, but we don't have anything that we can stand up and wave in the market to say, oh, look, by the way, this is a symbol of what we're doing. It's all behind the scenes information that's exchanged. B2B, our people buying the product, they don't have anything in your face that says in respect of that individual stick in front of them, how great it is from more than one perspective. And branding, Reese is really keen on this. We have an opportunity to make our sticks look good. So what the board's interested in doing in any tweaks to the system are making sure it has overall net benefits for the whole of industry. But more than that, we'd like to throw in some benefits for every participant in the chain. It's no good if the only people that will benefit are the marketers, if for farmers it's all a big hassle and there's nothing that can help them out. We'd like to throw in some benefits for everybody along the chain. It's got to be easy to comply with, and it's got to stand the test of time. We can't throw in some new technology that's going to become, that we suspect might become obsolete in a couple of years, but you know it's cheap now. That's no good. I'm going to describe the concept in a second, but just to make you, just to assure you that it's not all been conceived behind a desk in Wellington. Myself and my colleagues have got out round the traps and have spoken to as many different participants in the system as we can think of. So that includes the vets, pack houses, road buyers, the tech suppliers. Who else? Farmers. Okay, what's the concept? Tags, we'll stick with tags. You're familiar with tags, but we'll make them stronger. They're not going to come off in the freezer. MPI isn't going to say to us, look, you're really testing the tolerances here, too many are falling off. They're not going to fall off. Well, one or two might. Don't ring me up if one falls off. But the tags at the moment, as you know, they've got a number. You have to write down numbers, give a bit of paper to someone else. The numbers now will have information on them that can be captured either by mobile phone, by UHF scanners, because they'll contain a UHF chip. They'll contain a barcode. They'll still have something readable by humans and writable by humans, but they'll contain technology information that can be picked up automatically to take the legwork out of our system. So it's probably not going to be a cable tie anymore. It's more likely to be the sort of wristbands that you use to go to the homegrown, and I'm sure you all go to homegrown and what have you, raves like that. So I'll actually just wave an example up so you have a bit of an idea. So this is the concept that's been piloted. So the final one, it's going to look similar to this, not exactly like this, but it's a synthetic paper. Here we've got a barcode. Any mobile phone can download a barcode reading app and read that. Barcode's got a number. We can all read that. It's got a bit of branding on it. It's got a UHF chip embedded in it. And this is very lightweight, a lot more lightweight than a cable tie. Database. So this is where it gets exciting. Instead of our information residing on bits of paper in drawers, in vet clinics, on farm, in pack houses, in grading facilities, all the information will be centrally held in our database, and everybody who needs access to it will have access to it. What that database will deliver everybody who ever handles velvet is an online inventory of either, if you're a farmer, the tag stocks that have been allocated to you and that you have in the drawer at home, and it'll be an inventory of the tagged velvet that you have supplied. For a pack house or grading facility, it'll be an inventory of tagged velvet in store and tagged velvet that you have supplied elsewhere. It'll bring together the systems that we've already built for the NVSB compliance and the RCS compliance. So every supplier of velvet, their NVSB status and RCS status will be brought together on this database, so that velvet that's come off a premise that where the velveter either wasn't a vet or wasn't an accredited NVSB velveter, or the shed had failed an audit, that data would be flagged up and a VSD wouldn't be able to be produced. So the cloud-based this database would also generate the velvet status declaration drafts. VSDs would move from paper to electronic. If for any reason, as I say, the velveter was not compliant with the other important aspects of our velvet supply chain, which is the food safety or the animal welfare rules, there just could not be a VSD backing that transfer of velvet. So what do we get out of all of that? Our velvet that reaches the market, that's exported bearing this new tag, could only get that far if it had been compliant with all the rules, the animal welfare and the RCS rules. So our marketers are now more confident than ever when they're talking to our customers in the market about the status of that velvet. So I've explained the concepts only at a very high level. I haven't gone into the nitty-gritty of who has to do what in this concept. And as I say, it's only a concept. That detail, as far as we've sketched it out, is contained in these fact sheets there on our website, on the DONZ.org website. So they set out in a lot more detail what this system might involve for the different players in the traceability chain. So we're interested in, I say we've been out around the traps already. Now that we're going to start to build this system, we want to hear in more detail from you once you've read these sheets as they apply to you, any further detail on what might work, what doesn't work, any additional ideas that could make it better. Because this is the stages now when we can incorporate all that thinking to build something that fits everybody's needs. I'm running out of time, so I'll just say that in terms of and the formatting's gone a bit awry there. In terms of where we are in this process, we're not looking to roll out and implement this system until the 2020 velveting season. But what you will notice this season is that there will be a new format of tag. It's going to be a wristband, it'll have a barcode. It won't have a UHF chip yet because there's no database into which this chip can be scanned. But there will be a new format tag. So DINS will put out the information to the vets and the farmers and the buyers as to what they need to do, what's going to be different. And we'll put out how-to information if you're interested in lining up the barcode with your stag information on your farm management systems. So you'll hear from us in the next couple of months what's going to be different this coming year. And that's it from me. I'll take questions after Reese has addressed you on what's happening in the markets.